Hi everyone, my name is Kate, coming to you from Lima, Peru, in front of the Pacific Ocean. Here in Peru, I teach high school physics, and so I wanted to share some ideas with you about this week's theme of modeling. One of the things that I really enjoy doing while I'm stuck inside during quarantine is at night going into my backyard and looking up at the stars and the moon. And because there's not as many people out during the day and people are turning their lights off at night, I've gotten some really clear views of the moon lately. So I wanted to share with you some of the observations that I've been making. I noticed that sometimes the moon looked like it was getting bigger, it was waxing, until it got to be a full moon, and then it started shrinking down, and it was what we call waning. So that got me thinking about what sort of models do scientists have in order to understand why the moon goes through these different phases. Now, what's a model anyway? It's simply a representation that we use to explain something that's going on and make predictions about the future. So I did a little bit of research, and for a really long time, humans thought that the universe was a geocentric model. So what does a geocentric model mean? Well, the prefix geo might remind you of geography or geology. Geo is referring to the Earth. So the geocentric model puts the Earth at the center of the universe. The sun, other stars would all revolve around the Earth. And in fact, we believed this until about the mid-1500s, until Copernicus came along with the heliocentric model. So what is the heliocentric model? The heliocentric model puts the sun at the center, meaning that the Earth would orbit around the sun. This is probably the model that you're familiar with and have learned in school, because this is the model that we now know to be correct. So how can we use this heliocentric model to explain the different phases of the moon? Let's take a look. Now, to help us understand the phases of the moon, you're gonna need a light bulb. And for this, I'm actually gonna take off the top of my lamp, so it's just the light bulb itself. You're also gonna need a ball, preferably a white ball, maybe like a softball or a baseball, but really any ball will do. Now, for this to make sense, I want you to imagine that our light bulb is gonna represent the sun. That's, of course, where all of our light comes from. Your ball is gonna represent the moon, and you are gonna represent the Earth. So you can imagine me, the Earth, would be walking around the sun, my light bulb, and the moon, my ball, would be orbiting around me, the Earth. Now, for the next part, you're gonna need a dark room. So I'm gonna pull all of the blinds and make sure it's nice and dark in here. So I first wanna show you how to make a full moon with this setup. I'm gonna turn my back so that the sun, the lamp, is behind me. And I'm gonna take the moon and I'm gonna put it slightly above the Earth, just like it would be in space. Now, as I look at the moon from Earth, I should see a circle, and that entire circle is lit up. This would represent a full moon. I'm gonna then change position and start to rotate so that now the sun is to the side of me. Now, from my point of view, I still see a circle for my moon, but I see it halfway lit up. This would be like seeing a half moon in the sky. And you can keep rotating, always looking at the moon from your point of view here on Earth until you get to this position, where from my point of view, I don't see any part of the moon lit up. This would be a new moon. I'll keep rotating and I can see the moon starting to get bigger, more light on the moon. Rotating some more, I can now see a half moon. And all the way around, I'm back to my full moon, where the whole side of the moon that I can see from here on Earth is completely lit up. You should be able to make all of the different phases of the moon, from a new moon, getting bigger and bigger, waxing all the way to a full moon, and then waning back down to a new moon. I would encourage you to go outside at night and just take a look at the moon. Maybe keep an observation log. How do you see the moon changing from night to night? And then try this model to explain why the moon is changing. It's not physically getting bigger or smaller. It's the light that we're seeing from here on Earth shining from the sun. I hope you have fun making observations of the moon and trying to model the phases of the moon in your own house. That's it for now. I'll see you next week.
And that was Kate Miller in Peru. Thank you, Kate, for sending us that video.